sick for 9 months, had 7 surgeries, days and days in the hospital, lost 40% of his body weight, NG tube, PICC lines, CAT scans, the whole thing. But didn't just survive. His application was actually filled out by his wife. And this incredibly tender story. And you have to understand our position. So we get all of these applications that we've got to weed through, and each one you go, oh my gosh, did they really? Oh, the stories of the people, that it's just incredible what they endure. And not just survive, but what they go on and then to do. And our winner, Ryan Decker, is just like that. He was a water engineer. His passion is to serve underprivileged, underserved countries, help build wells and find water for areas that needed it. I hope he'll tell the story, but shortly after he was married, the first 6 months of his life, he took his wife and moved to Saudi Arabia. Honey, we're moving to Saudi Arabia. Not a lot of Four Seasons in Saudi Arabia, but we're going to go serve. And spent 6 months there, came back, I got sick for a while, and ultimately returned to an organization called Living Waters, which I believe is a nonprofit which does this around the world. In fact, he's leaving shortly after this to go to Haiti to fulfill his passion to serve others. He's an extraordinary young man. For us on the judging committee, we never meet them until today. I met Ryan 45 minutes ago, and I'm delighted. So I'd love for you to welcome our 2014 West Regional Great Comebacks winner, Ryan Decker, to share his story. Formally present this award, yes. All right, there you go. We'll put it right here. Slide over here. You're off.
Cool. Well, first and foremost, guys, I just feel totally honored to be here with you guys. I'll get into my WOCNs soon, but I'm just really thankful both to Convatec for their support and the ways they pour into the life of Ostomates and all the things they go through, but the Great Comebacks program, again, all you nurses here. I'm really thankful to God and what He's done in my life. He's shown me a lot of purpose in this season and what we go through in suffering. And Rolf talked a lot about that with the perspective that going through some tough things brings to your life. I also want to say thanks to my mother-in-law and sister-in-law and brother-in-law. They're here with me today. I promised my buddy Kyle I'd give him a great shout out, so that's to him. And really, it feels, Rolf also mentioned my wife. It feels totally wrong that she's not here tonight. She's actually back in Colorado, and the care that we received via WOCNs in all ways inspired my wife to go back to get her BSN, and she is WOCN bound.
Wow.
And so that's a really cool thing. And yeah, I hope you don't feel like I'm buttering you up, because that's not who I am. I don't butter people, but really the care we received, the experience we went through inspired my wife, and she said, I'm doing this. And honestly, my wife has more ostomy experience than a lot of other people. I wouldn't even look at my ostomy the first 2 months. I said, you just deal with this. Like, I can't do this. So definitely my wife Carly is a huge inspiration, and I wouldn't be here truly without her. But Rolf mentioned a little bit about my story. And it was fast coming. I had symptomatic things with bowel issues kind of all through high school. I remember asking, this is filled with nurses, so I can say some poop words like that. It's great. I remember in high school asking my best friend, hey man, you have, after you go to the bathroom, is there like blood in the water? And he's like, no man, like that's not normal. And so I remember thinking, even from an early on, like, you got some weird things, but everyone that's been diagnosed or had issues with bowel issues knows it's not a very simple diagnosis. It's not, very cut and dry, and you get 100% diagnosis the first time you go into a GI doctor. And so it took quite a while for us to kind of figure out what was going on. And honestly, I was pretty, I could live. I knew bathrooms, I knew where to go and find them, I knew what things to eat, I knew if I drank orange juice, I'd puff up like a balloon, and so I just avoided a lot of those things. And so my wife and I, we kind of have a crazy international experience, but we were in Saudi Arabia for quite some time and came back, and I lived a very, very active lifestyle, both from outdoors. I love Colorado. If you've been to Colorado, it's beautiful. You can't be living in Colorado and not love to go and climb and hike and bike and do everything you possibly can outside. So both that way, and also with my work, I work as a water engineer for a nonprofit. So we do water treatment systems in developing countries where they're drinking contaminated water. And in these communities where they don't name the children because they're afraid they're not going to make it. And so they don't name them until they're 2 years old and 3 years old, because how many children died because of waterborne disease. And so as a result of that work, which is my life passion, I love what I get to do. I had to travel quite a bit, and this wasn't the luxurious, let's go to Europe and stay in some nice hotels. This was like Booneyville. You won't have power, you don't have running water, you bring your own little filtration units or you're going to be sick all night. So I love it, but that was kind of the reality of my experience. And so it was kind of right in the midst of that, and I still remember to this day, I was training for a half marathon at that time. I had just run like 10 miles, and literally 3 weeks later, I was immobilized. It started with fissures and abscesses and fistulas, and within about 3 to 4 weeks, I was on a couch and unable to move. And fast forward, it took about a year of my life through different surgeries and trying to figure out what was going on, a lot of body weight loss, and a lot of just complications and frustrations. And so it's been a long journey, but one of my favorite parts of being involved and really getting welcomed into the Great Comebacks family is that I love my ostomy, and I think that's kind of my message. And it's an unfortunate reality that the WOCNs, that you guys, you don't always get to hear the after story. You get us at our worst, really. But the after stories are a lot of times what's encouraging. And so, yeah, I just want to let you guys know I am thankful for you guys. My two WOCNs in Colorado, Terry and Celine, I put them through the ringer. I'm not gonna lie, I'm an engineering background, I have type A personality, my wife will be the first to tell you that. So I put them through the ringer in terms of what I needed to, the point I needed to get to know my ostomy and to know my care, and they were so patient with me and spent hours with me, and in so many ways helped me regain my confidence, because it's not just this physical ailment that you try to get over, it's all the emotional trauma and this thing that happens to your confidence, and so they were instrumental in that way. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for what you guys do. Really, it's your dedication and your heart and what you guys do is truly very impactful. So as a result of my ostomy, I have been able to really return back to full life. I remember sitting in the hospital. I had, different than a lot of other people that deal with these things, I had about a day and a half to prepare for my ileostomy. My surgeon, he took a look at me when I came in for a consultation, immediately hospitalized me, and later that day said, hey, you need an ileostomy. And so he gave me a day and a half to prepare, and I remember the first question I Googled was, how can I mountain bike with an ostomy? It was the first question I was like, how do I do this? Because I'm an avid mountain biker. And so just as a result of my ostomy, I really have been able to return back to mountain biking and to road biking and to hiking and to traveling internationally and to all the things that I was able to do. And I think actually in a lot of ways I can do them better than I was able to do before. And that's a cool thing to be able to say. It's also definitely inspired me to be, which again was so cool with the Great Comebacks program. It's helped me to understand a passion that I have to help other people in this stage, in this season of life. I would enjoy nothing more than going and visit a patient in the hospital and, hey, I just biked here, like how yes, hey, please, I would love to. Yeah, like, You know, and it's not like your life is perfect. I have taken spills on my mountain bike. I have had my bag fall off in the middle of Haiti with every Haitian staring at me. What in the world is that thing? But the point is, you know, I was sitting there in my hospital bed dreaming of the time when I could be able to do these things again. And so, thank you guys so much for what you do. Great comebacks. Thank you, Convatec. Thank you. I just feel really honored to be a part of this. And yeah, thank you guys.
You know, how about a hand? This is. You never know what you're going to get, really. What's written on words is often so different from what you see in life. And what we have here is exactly what we dream about finding. Ryan, thank you so much for your tenderness, for your forthrightness, really for your boldness, your courage, and really for the example you set. It's really awesome. So thank you.